is a big yikes.
Okay, you ready for that?
Sure. Do you feel like this actually helps?
No, I usually put. I put
It looked like it was an intentional.
No, I don't think. I literally think I had it there, and then it happened.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special review. I don't know if this is a GeekVerse episode or a Dynamic Duo episode. It is a review.
Some muddled something in between.
I'm pretty sure we've gone back and forth. I'm pretty sure we're gonna do a newscast next week because there's legitimately lots of news.
There is a lot of stuff.
So that's why originally this was gonna be like next week's episode. But
yes.
if we don't do a newscast, this can be a GeekVerse episode 150. If it's not 158. If not, it's just a bonus treat.
Yeah, 156-ish, something like that. Yeah.
My name is the Horse Penis Superman, Travis.
Superman.
The horse penis, you understand? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so if you haven't seen Punisher, it
penis.
is related to the show. It's not. I'm just not
Right.
talking about horse penis.
And I had a cool name that I can't remember, so I'm just gonna go with the Battle Van. Dylan Musk. Shoutouts to the Spider-Man animated show, and Punisher makes an appearance, which is somewhere. I don't know if that's out or on Patreon. It's somewhere.
It is out, so you could go back
and watch it.
The Spider-Man Retro will return in 2018, but you can go back and check out. We did all of season 1 and 2, and so you got lots of content.
And Punisher sneaks his way in there.
He does, and you know what also he sneaks his way into? Maybe not sneaks his way. He bursts through the door.
Transition.
The Punisher Netflix Marvel original series. Also, he made his debut.
He kind of did burst through because it was kind of announced the date recently, right? It kind of just burst right through.
We didn't know for a while. For a while they were gonna just drop randomly, but here we are. He made his debut in Daredevil season 2, and I feel like after that, there's lots of anticipation of like
3 words at once.
Oh yeah. Like at first it was like, oh, is he gonna have his own show? And then it happened, and I think this was a lot of build up. People have been waiting for this. Lots of people love this character. Dilmas, what were your... And if you've never watched a review of ours, we do a non-spoiler, kind of just a little breakdown. We give our thoughts, and then we'll let you know when we get into spoilers. So if you haven't watched it all, you can come back, but we'll give you a general overall view. Me and Dylan have not talked to each other.
I have no idea what you think of the show.
Really? I put out one Facebook post in the ether, but...
I didn't do anything today except watch Punisher and make dinner, so...
It's the life of a podcaster.
So I haven't been on Facebook at all.
So what do you think about this show? Did it live up to the hype?
Right. Did it live up to the hype? I don't know, maybe not necessarily. I think I feel mixed, but I'm not disappointed. And the reason is because Punisher and John Bernthal, like 100% of the time he's on screen,
delivers.
It's amazing, and the character of Punisher I think was done like amazingly well, and so in that regard it did live up to the hype, at least for that character. I think there are quite a few characters in this show that I'm not a big fan of story wise, just because. Even the big overarching story is kind of simple. And I guess it kind of drags on in that sense, and I guess getting out of the last episodes, I was hoping that there was going to be some more developments, and they didn't really happen. Like, it was a pretty basic story, and I think acting wise, for the most part, was pretty good. There's a couple people that I'm not a big fan of, but for like most of the bigger characters, I really liked. Yeah. Punisher and his buddy Micro. Yeah. I liked their dynamic a lot.
Great chemistry.
At first, I after like the first couple episodes, I wasn't sure I was going to feel about it, but I really love how that went, and I think it kind of served as like a, I don't know, I don't want to say too much without spoiling anything, so I'll say that I enjoyed it. Yeah. And anytime like they were chilling in their base and doing shit, it was usually some fun scenes, and you got some really interesting dialogue, and it kind of delved into both their backstories, and then even though their backstories aren't like intertwined, it feels like it is, just like through emotions and certain experiences that they had, I suppose. Yeah. So yeah, overall, I'm feeling okay about it. I
just
think,
okay. Wow.
Yeah. Like.
Wow.
Yeah. That's where I am. That's where I am.
Marvel, Netflix, I feel like they've been making you feel just okay recently. You had Iron Fist that, we liked, but was still okay. You weren't the hottest on Defenders when it happened. No. Where is this? How much better is this than Defenders? Because I can tell already you like this better than Defenders, but...
I think, I was thinking about this a little bit. I think this show for me is under Daredevil and Jessica Jones. I think it would be kind of on par with Defenders. Okay. Maybe slightly above it. I mean, there's... I don't know, it's so hard to say. Defenders, like, some things were really good, but some things were really bad. Whereas this show, everything was kind of somewhere in the middle, and then some things leapt up to the top level. Yeah. But I think I like it more than Luke Cage for sure, and Iron Fist. I have to put it higher than Iron Fist just because Iron Fist had some like really glaring issues. Whereas this show is like the story worked, it was functional.
Yeah.
It just maybe didn't have like a ton of depth and maybe didn't go some places I kind of was hoping it would go.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you feel?
So yeah, I think because I had touted this for a while, like this and Black Panther, those are the two things I won't shut about how great they're gonna be. I think this almost delivered for me. I do actually go the 2 seasons Daredevil and then this under it, just because the only reason I remember with Jessica Jones was it did feel like for a while there was some stalling going around.
Right.
There are some slower episodes in this, but what I think is good is to the finale, and that's one I think it really feels like it's building towards the finale, where Jessica Jones felt like it could end a little earlier.
I'll agree with that. I mean, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist, I all felt like they could have cut a couple episodes.
They all
or
sputtered,
something.
yeah. This could have
this
too.
I was interested the whole time.
Yeah, this could have too, but I think it's just because there's certain characters that could have been cut, or not even that was the other thing. Like this is a minor negative, I guess, was a lot of episodes were a full 50-55 minutes in this season.
Yep.
I'd have to look. I think it might be like the longest season runtime wise, because most of the other ones were usually you'd have like your premiere and the finale is like 50 minutes, but there's a lot of times it's just like random episode 6.
Are the last episodes usually longer?
I think like by like 5 minutes.
This one wasn't.
No, it was the same, but lots of them were longer. So, I think it almost lived up to the hype. It wasn't as good as Daredevil. I think there was a bit more slower moments, and it was a slower build. So it is still positive to me. I think the things I can say about this is, even though it spun off from Daredevil, it feels completely different. Like Marvel Netflix does a good job. Like this is the definition of like a gritty show. It's intense, it's brutal, it's super adult oriented. Like really, like everyone says about the Netflix shows, but this is the most adult oriented out of them. Whether it's like swearing, violence, or sex. Violence is great, over the top. Like it's what you want from the Punisher show. Like they don't hold back. And there's already been some complaints, like, oh, it's too violent. It's like, that's what this show is. Like, this is a mass murder. That's the character. Like, if you don't want, like, it, find some, Luke Cage and Iron Fist, it's there for you. This is not, and I can understand, that's not everyone's cup of tea. It's kind of something like a Saw, like, oh, if you really don't like gratuitous violence, this show's not for you. At
least they succeeded in what they wanted to do. You look at Iron Fist and, like, how that character should have been fight scene-wise, and we talked about that on the review, like, a lot. For Iron Fist is that it was really lackluster and didn't really fit the character. Whereas this might be brutal and maybe too much for some people, but at least it's Punisher.
And it's set up for, even if you've never read a comic book version, it's set up for what happened in Daredevil Season 2. All his scenes were known for, like, that was, he raised the bar as far as, like, you saw Daredevil fight, and then you saw Punisher, and it was always brutal and bloody, so it'd feel kind of weird if that kind of, like, went away or it only happened few often, so I love that. John Bernthal is, I think, going to be like Hugh Jackman with Wolverine, where I really, really liked this season, enjoyed it, but if there's a bad season down the line, it's like even Hugh Jackman in terrible X-Men movies, it's still just fun to watch him because he's so good at the role. Yeah. Anytime he's on screen, it's good. And that's maybe where some of my cons were. I wish it was more like Dexter Season 1, where Season 1 of Dexter was pretty much always just like Dexter, and you had a few side characters. As the show went on, it was more about like Deborah and and that's where I think it did kind of get a little weak, and that's where I felt the show was a little weak at this time. There's some characters I like, but what is her name? Medina? Yeah, she's a detective, and like it's a minor spoiler, but it's a classic. There's always has to be a detective after Frank Castle, and she's that one in this in a way, and I liked her more near the end, but at the beginning I was like, I don't care. Anytime she was on screen and all this stuff, like there's a few moments like that where I just kind of wish it was, I'd rather than just short the episodes down, just have it just Frank and just Micro. I love Micro. The chemistry they had together was great, because if he doesn't work, all those scenes would really be a drag. If like, and I don't even,
it's a real development too, right?
Yeah. They start all, like, it's minor spoilers, but they start, I guess I won't get into it. They start one way and they end a different way, and it feels natural. It doesn't feel forced. It's a very also weird show as well. Like this,
in what way? What do you mean by
this? Is a minor spoiler, but there's one scene where Punisher, and this is where it comes into the adult thing. Punisher comes up, he's trying to get somebody, and when he gets to somebody, this guy's in the middle of a dominatrix sex scene with a ball gang in his mouth. He has like a lot of different hallucinations through the show. That's not just your classic dream sequence. It's like a lot of like weird stuff at
it's
times.
like
so,
supposed to like PTSD, like these demented memories, right?
And like that's where you can tell the guy Steve I think it's Lightfoot he was a producer / writer of Hannibal, and I got a lot of vibes of that too, like when he had some of those dream sequences. So I think I kind of down talked it, but I thought the show was fantastic overall. Like I've like very minor cons, but lots of positives. Cool. I put it right up there, like right under Daredevil. I think it was just the beginning of the show was a little slow, and it took a little time for me to be like, where are we getting? The villain like part doesn't really come until like halfway through the season until we know who exactly the villain, what their kind of plan is, which it works to an extent, but for a while it kind of just felt like, oh, are we just, is this literally just going to be a show about Frank Castle just like living his life? And I knew that wasn't the case because we saw him shooting a bunch of people, right? So it's like, so and there's a few minor cons that are spoilers that we won't get into their story base, but overall, really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it if, like I said, if you like the character, if you don't mind violence. It's very, very heavy on the violence, but it's great character work. Like the Punisher character is great, and John Bernthal, and I think the story, no matter what, does a good job at giving him an arc. We've talked about Iron Fist, where Iron Fist, like we both kind of liked certain levels, but we always felt that Danny didn't really work with him, right? He wasn't a well-written character. Well, this is, he might be up, I think he's up there with Matt as kind of the well-written best character, because the thing is, I love Jessica Jones, but she never actually, like, really changes in her journeys. Like, she's always that witty character, but after she went through a lot, where I do feel like Frank Castle started different than how it ended, and that's what you're looking for, especially in TV, when you got 13 hours. You kind of want some sort of change in the character.
You would hope so.
Do you have anything non-spoiler you want to shout out?
No.
So, yeah, spoilers. If you haven't seen it,
spoilers.
There's your time to check it out. Thank you for tuning in for the first non-spoiler, but if so, I don't know. Let's get into the spoilers. I don't know where I was going. So, I want to start off with one thing that I don't know, and I'll ask you if you liked it or didn't like it. So, the show started off, I think, with a big bang. I love that the first, 5 minutes is him just going to all these guys, killing them in different locations, killing them in the bathroom, all this and that. And then I was really, the show took an abrupt stop when he burns his vest, and we do this whole, he's not the Punisher for about 3 episodes. And I think it was fine, because at the end, we got, where we ended up was great, but I don't know if I love the whole becoming the Punisher. I think this season, some of the causes, I felt there was maybe a little retread from Daredevil Season 2. I felt like when Season 2 ended,
I think in some ways, because I think the big thing for me is they took his family dynamic in a really, really different way.
Yeah.
And obviously they did that through the use of Micro, through David and his family.
Yeah.
And so I really liked that, because I was curious how much of his family we'd be getting flashbacks of, and we really didn't. We get a lot of his wife and some weird visions he has, but we don't really get much of his kids.
Not really. No.
We get one longer scene in the, I think it's in the last episode.
Yeah.
With Billy as well. But other than that, they kind of cooled down on that and took it in a different direction. I actually like the way it started, because I don't know, I think it just I like that he just kind of went off in this other world, and it was 6 months later, since 6 months have passed, and he's just fucking hitting that wall, man. He just has that sledgehammer and he's just destroying that wall, and you can just, it's just because how good of an actor he is, and you can just see it on his face, how he's just completely disconnected. He's just this hermit, and then there's finally something that he can kind of attach to, where he wants to defend that kid and help that kid out. So I like the starting, I guess, because I think I felt like it kind of distanced itself from the rest of what the Marvel shows are like.
Yeah.
Literally as well. It kind of just here's jump a time frame and he'll move somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was just down to start with whatever. I don't know where the story's going, because even from the trailers, I really had no idea what the story
lots
would
of
be.
shooting and lots
it was just you're gonna get some action, but you don't know what the story will be, and it doesn't his story. I guess it is a continuation from Season 2 of Daredevil, but it seems like it kind of evolved and just it created a whole new set of characters. None of those characters were from Daredevil, right?
No,
yeah.
I guess for me it was just that there was a few times where, when I mentioned the retread, was Daredevil Season 2, he was after, I think they called him the blacksmith or whatever, and that was the guy that was responsible for killing his family, and then that happened, and then he burns down his old house, and the last shot of you see he has the Punisher vest, and I felt like they kind of did the mini origin, so we just set him up perfectly for a show, where that's where I felt there's a lot of times in the show where it was always there's of course another person involved with his family's death, right? And it felt we kind of did the origin in the show, but we still want to do the origin in our style.
I do kind of wish they went somewhere else with that, other than just oh, just kidding, he didn't kill all the people.
Yeah.
It's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a lazy starting of a story.
Yeah, and I guess I don't mind. I guess my thing is, in Daredevil season 2, that's why I guess I'm just so connected to that, is when he does become the Punisher. He killed that guy, and then he still goes and does the vest after. Like, it felt like he was going, like, at that time we had no knowledge that, oh, there's maybe more people that killed his family, right? Mm-hmm. So I just felt, okay, he's gonna go out there and exact vengeance on criminals out there. It's like in Daredevil season 2, and he just kills that guy who has, like, the child porn stuff, right? And I thought, oh, he's gonna do more of that, where he kills the people that he think were a part of his family, and then he goes and pulls like Lumberjack Dexter. He pulls Construction Punisher.
He does. He totally does.
And that thing where it's like, I felt like
Construction Punisher.
Yeah, that's a new thing, and luckily it wasn't as bad. But I get it was, and the thing is, I ended up liking the episode, and I still end up liking them doing the.
I like that episode had its own story.
Yeah.
That resolved like within that one episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I've only seen Daredevil, like, all of those shows once. Like, I haven't rewatched Daredevil at all. I want to, but it's just, that's a big time commitment.
It is.
And so, I don't know. Maybe, to me, it didn't feel like a retread because I haven't actually seen that stuff in, like, a year and a half or something.
Yeah. I guess I was so excited for the first 5 minutes, like I said, so he's just killing all those people. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a show, here we go. And like I said, when it slowed down, I didn't like it initially. As it went on, I liked it. And like you said, the first episode is like a really contained story.
Yeah.
So I liked that. And that was a good start for his journey in a way of, okay, he's kind of this like, he's a shell of former himself, right? He's just like living his life.
Yeah.
Even though I felt like I was, I felt like they could have got a bit more into what his, I don't know, because he didn't have anyone to talk to. I guess I want to know what his goal was being there, right? I guess it was just to be away from everything.
I think it was simply he just wanted to be on his own. And
yeah.
He no longer wants anyone, right?
Yeah.
He kind of has, like, I don't know, I guess the world he has inside his head, just this weird disconnected world, is kind of what he wants in like a weird way.
Yeah. So, and then after that, like, Micro pulls him back into the world pretty much, because Micro needs his help and everything like that. And I think the setup was really good there. One of my favorite episodes was the episode when Frank has him, like, tied to the chair.
Yeah.
Because they're both, like, playing these cat and mouse games with it. Cat and mouse.
No.
Cat and mouse, because there's just that moment when, Frank outsmarts him, and then he has that pen that, like, knocks him out or whatever. Like, he, like, stabs Frank and, like, makes him unconscious and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I really like that episode, and I like how, when I didn't want to talk about the non-spoiler, but Micro is kind of this, like, maybe enemy in Punisher's eyes, right? In Frank's eyes, like, it's a maybe enemy to a ally, to a partner, to a friend near the end, right? And I really like that, and that's what I was saying earlier. It did feel natural. And Micro's a huge character in the comics. He's always, like, he's in the animated show, as we know, like, he's always around Frank. So that's what I meant earlier, too. Like, if that didn't work, it would really drag and really, you would end up hating Micro, because Micro has a lot of screen time in the show.
He does.
As well.
He's in it a lot. And just to follow up on, like, that introduction, like, that episode, I guess, I love how the dynamic shifts from Micro having all this power, and then how quickly it shifts to Frank having all the power.
Yeah.
It's,
and then it'll shift back, though, too.
Yeah,
They did a good job of the yin-yang and everything like that.
And then it eventually making it feel equal. And, like, just through the little things, like, there's one scene where they're talking about, like, David's like, yeah, I would make dinner, like half the time, and half my time my wife would make dinner, and Punisher's like, yeah, I never made dinner, but then eventually he's, like, making food for, like, both of them and stuff. It's just, like, little subtle things in their friendship, and they just become two dudes hanging out. You know?
I really loved the dynamic, too, of Frank checking in on the family, because that's another thing where
it always had this, like, sinister feeling to it.
Well, it did, and that's where when I brought up a weird show, like, that's where with that family, there's a lot of weird stuff in there, because obviously they're a damaged family, right? But, like, I knew, and this thing, like, it was a predictable thing, but I didn't think it was a bad thing. I thought it was good writing of, I knew, okay, this wife is going to get interested in Frank because she's lonely, she needs somebody to talk to, and everything like that. And I thought it was a great setup with the cameras in the house. I knew, like, oh, she's going to kiss him at some point, and it's going to be a thing. And I like that it was a thing for, like, an episode. It wasn't a thing for a long time. It was a dramatic point, and then it became a joke later on, because Micro kind of understood, like, she kissed you, she's lonely. Like, in her mind, he's dead, so she can't really get mad at her, right? So I really like that.
What did you think of the wife, like, as an actor, as a character?
I don't know why, but I liked her.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I don't know why she was.
That seems weird to me. I feel like She reminds me of like a Joy or like a Karen, like the character.
I guess for me it was just she wasn't in the show too much, and that's what I think. That's the thing I always say with Karen and Foggy. Sometimes that annoys me is sometimes it feels like, hey, we really need something for them to do, so let's give them this arc of like that really doesn't pay off, and it's what we talked about at the beginning, right? Where it's like I watch Daredevil for Daredevil. I know they're side characters, but like I watch Punisher for Punisher, and because they do this family stuff, but at one point after Frank kind of like turns her down, she's gone for like 3 to 4 episodes for a while near the end of the season until those cameras go down and then like they get kidnapped. So that's what I liked is even the episodes the kids were in, it was used sparingly. It wasn't he didn't fall in love with her either or something like that. Like it was. That's what I liked the most about that. It was just put in there at times. It wasn't the main thing.
I think I like those scenes because Punisher was always there, and he's just I loved watching him anytime on screen.
Well, and you're seeing a different side of him
I had some problems with the wife character because I felt like she just way too quickly just started revealing like all of her deepest, darkest emotions to him.
She's lonely,
and he's a pretty fucking creepy dude. Like, and
is he? Show with flowers. She hit him on the
not at that point though, because honestly, it was like in their first scene when she let him in that she's like talking about all these things that happened with her husband and how he passed away and how sad she was and like at that point that's when he still had all the facial hair and he was a grubby hipster or whatever they were calling him. So I don't know. I felt it was very unrealistic how quickly she attached to him.
Okay,
and she was like just revealing everything to him.
Yeah, because
she was kind of a piece of shit too. Like the way she was just constantly trash talking her kids. Like, like she really laid the smack down on her son.
Well, my favorite thing was she would talk about her husband, and then she would always go, "Oh, but like I don't like that's some people more, but I don't want to keep talking about my husband." And then like that scene would end, and then the next time Frank would see her, he would she'd bring it up again. And she's like, but we don't want to talk about my husband. Like that happened a lot of times where she would talk to him, but like, "Oh, but that, you're just a stranger. You don't want to know this." It's just like, but every time you keep doing this, I don't know. I guess for me, it just kind of works as far as. I could imagine her being a little weird because she's lost her husband, but at that point in the story, it seems like her husband may have been shady or a criminal or something, so it's kind of the reverse of like everything she knew was turned upside down. So I can give her a little break and
don't get me wrong, I still liked all of her scenes.
Her kids are kind of a little shitty, like.
But the daughter's not. The daughter's cool.
I guess
she's just like some smart kid.
Fair enough, but like the son literally punches the girl, and that's
the kid is a piece of shit. But he didn't punch her yet when she was already like trash talking.
We don't know that though. It could have happened before.
He could have punched her twice.
And that was the other stuff where I was talking about when there's weird scenes and intense scenes. A very weird scene is when she thinks that the son is gonna hurt somebody, so Frank has this like sit down, come to Jesus moment. And this is what I mean, really weird scene, but I love the scene because it was really intense. Like you talk about scary, I was on the edge of my seat, but it was also comedic too. Like it was to the point where I want an SNL skit of John Bernthal talking to other kids. Like the way he'd just be like, oh, this is the weapon you choose, right? He's like, yeah, it's better than a gun because you just get into a man's insides and twist it. And the kid, like the way he would just keep going with it. And then when he pulled the kid in with the knife, and then he's just like, what would you do now? And that's super weird. Like it's like, and that shows the effects of John. And then the kid asking him to just kill him. It's like very dark show. It's a very, very dark show. And then they're just
tossing the football. It's all hunky dory. No problem here.
But that's what I love.
I enjoyed the suspense anytime he was there because the first few episodes when he's kind of visiting and checking in on her and helping
fixing their garage door,
fixing all is just the classical handyman. There's always like I guess since that was early on enough. Punisher's character and Micro weren't really like really good friends yet.
No,
they were still just like, okay, we both have.
They're using each other.
We're using each other. Yeah, we both have access to different tools and we can help each other out. But I never knew like when he went to that house. I'm not sure. Like I never knew what he was gonna do at first. I didn't know if he was gonna try and like fuck his wife or something. I was kind of getting those vibes, and that's why it was so suspenseful, and I liked it.
Well, I thought, especially because one thing that threw me off was because Micro has a couch, or he has a camera right down on the couch, so I'm like, oh man, this is gonna happen, because especially for a while, he didn't tell Frank that he had his house, like, all the cameras, whatnot, like, he didn't find out till that later, where Frank just, like, woke up.
I thought he had saw them at some point, but then that line popped up, and...
So that's why I did think it was gonna happen, because Frank doesn't know about the cameras, he's gonna fuck this guy's wife, and then here we go. But I'm glad they didn't. I think the kiss was enough because I think they got it across. Because if he had sex with her, you're not gonna come back from that, and they always would have been like at odds. And I like them better together. Like the scene where they both get drunk. And like Micro's showing his ass and his dick off to Frank, and Frank's like pushing him away. That's it's a weird show.
I love that scene.
It's a great scene, but so that feels weird. Very, very much like a fucking Seth Rogen, James Franco comedy moment, right? Like that's what I mean. Like I don't mean weird in a bad way, but it's a show. It reminded me of like a weird combination of like The Departed, which we'll talk about later with the crime stuff, but Pulp Fiction, where I think it does a good job of switching its tones and not feeling weird. Like that was a very funny comedic scene, but then the next scene you'll just have some guy like getting his head chopped off,
it's extra
or
weird
Sam like dying.
There's like no comedy in this show. Like there's not. I don't think I really laughed at all.
I think it's supposed to be unintentional, but I think it's supposed to be dark comedy because I felt that scene when Frank was talking to Micro's son was comedic. I think it was just super dark. Like, the fact that he's talking to this 8-year-old boy about, like, how it's better to kill a man with a knife. There's, and just even stuff like Frank playing football, just like, come on, go long. Right. Like, I don't know if it was on purpose, but I think they put... I
guess you're right, there is some comedy, but there was no jokes or quippy characters or, like, Marvel kind of one-liners that they would have from the movies or something.
Or Flash one-liners.
Yeah. Or Flash one-liners, yikes.
Yeah. I was going to say, and then I guess because we can finish off with their story, I think the reunion with the family was good when Micro got there. I think I was happy that it happened this season because I wouldn't have wanted it to still be the next season of like, oh, we're waiting for Micro to get to his family.
Yeah.
They have a good reunion with the kids. I like that they have that little like sex scene in the bathroom because Frank and him talk like, oh, you missed sex, everything like that. Like, that was good. I think it all, and I called it once again, even though it was predictable, I liked it because it made sense story-wise. I like that Micro did the whole setup of faking his death again with, because when the guy did just shoot him.
I was like, he didn't die. Like, if he did, fuck you, this is a shit show. Like, I would have been quite mad if he died.
Especially because it's such an uneventful way, like, oh, he accidentally got shot. That would have been like, oh.
And even like Medina, what is her name? It was very close to Madonna.
Oh, I literally got the IMDb because I kept...
It is Medina, isn't it? No, her first name is Dina.
Is it Medina? Man, why is she not even listening?
Anyway, but she at the very end of the show had like she got
shot.
Medina. She got shot in the head, and I was like, she can't die like this, right? Like you guys wouldn't do that. It looked like she died.
I did kind of want her to die, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I guess.
I would not have been happy with that ending, even though the character in general, like, I definitely wanted more from that character. I still felt like that would have been a very anticlimactic death.
Okay, well then let's talk about her, because I felt like she was the dragging person for the first half. Up until she gets hit by Micro in that van, I did not give a flying fuck about Mandina.
Yeah.
I don't care about her. Mandina. I did not care about the scenes with her and her mom. I would have preferred it if the scene where she tracks down Frank Castle and like in the van they have that Fast and Furious like chicken whatever. I think that's how we should have met her. We should have met her on the night of trying to catch Frank, or even on the heist, and then after learn about her, because with like
she's introduced in the first episode or something.
I think the first, because they're looking into a case, and to me like it would. We know that's what I mean. She's the detective that has to look after Frank, or she's kind of on his tail at times and on other people's tails. Yeah. And when we're seeing her before that, I didn't care because there's no intrigue there. I know eventually, okay, she's going to get to Frank and we'll get that moment. And I knew her arc already of she's a cop or she's CIA. She doesn't like what Frank's doing, but eventually she's going to see the light. She's going to let Frank go. Like, I already knew her story beat for beat. And that's where the difference was with other stuff that was predictable. She wasn't an interesting character. She got better as the show went on, but I think the first half, very slow. That stuff you could have cut easily. Did not care about her and her mom. Did not care about her struggles going to CIA, or like her partner who kind of had like a flirtation with her, but like was friend zone. Like, I didn't care about really any of that.
I think it's unfortunate because she never really did anything in the end. Like, she didn't.
She saved Frank's life when she showed up to the merry-go-round, because remember Billy had him dead to rights with the gun. So because she gets her and then Billy just shoots her in the head.
I guess she.
So technically she does.
Sort of did, but
she
like,
does.
I don't think.
And she does help.
She didn't really do much else.
Well, it's all those last two episodes, because she does help Micro and Punisher do that plan of getting Micro out of there and like getting the tape with the camera. Right? So she does. There's a few things that she does near the end. I think the beginning she's all completely reactionary.
Yeah, I guess it just because she doesn't really do much, at least for the first like majority of the show.
She sleeps with Billy, you know.
She
Billy and
sleeps
her
with
have a
Billy.
lot of sex scenes.
She doesn't pick up on his sleaziness.
No, not right over.
Who
like,
would?
Yeah, I think almost anybody would, you know. So yeah, and I know I kind of wish she was dead because I don't want. I know she'll be back.
Her
next
line
year.
at the very last line. I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty bad.
I can't remember.
It was not good.
But yeah, I would have fine if she was dead because I don't need her to come back next year, and I know she's gonna now, and it's like, I don't know, like if like I said, I watched the show for Punisher. I don't want to see Mandina.
That's
I don't
true.
like. I don't.
I think she just got too much screen time is all. Especially like I don't know, for her arc, it's not. I guess it's not grand enough. Like you didn't need all that time associated to that character,
No.
even. Because that like her partner dies and she sulks on it for a bit, but then they kind of just forget about that. Like it's not really like a big part of what her character is, even though he was in like a decent amount of the show early on, and like all of her scenes were with him as well, and they were talking about stuff. So it seems weird that they kind of just dropped that because that would have clearly been like a big character point.
Yeah.
And they just talk about it for like that episode, and then she's kind of over it and moves on.
There's other characters I want to talk about, but I think we should talk about Frank a little more because we haven't actually talked about just like Frank. We talked about like a lot around him.
I loved his fucking.
Every time he's shooting anything.
Sorry, audio listeners, but
yeah.
I had to do it.
I'll fix that later. But anytime he's doing anything violent or whatnot, but I really liked the show for one thing because this thing, Frank Castle, it's very much like Batman. He is a crazy man. He's very messed up, and the show does a good job of it shows he loves his family, but it really hit the nail on the head and put the point across of, yeah, he loved his family, but then he loves like the violence and war a lot more, and he hate like there's a part of him that hates that, but he knows it's true. Whether it's the scenes with his wife, whether it's the it's kind of like the dream sequences, whether it's the flashbacks of war, and even the way the show ends of him not knowing what to do because he's not in a war.
Yeah.
I think it did a great job of showing him evolve from because I don't think in the beginning he evolves a lot because he really just comes back to exact his family's revenge, right? But this was eventually he was learning that this is I don't know if I'm not what I'm meant to do, but this is just my life and this is the way it's always gonna be. I'm always gonna be this machine, this like weapon, and maybe that's what season 2 is gonna deal with to see if he could maybe try not to be that, but I think they did a great job of just making him relentless and making him, and they made him really smart too. Like I love one of the final battles in their little lair where that felt very Batman-esque of like everywhere he goes there's like a weapon. He plans about to be in front of the bomb. So he
uses his conversation to get out of a lot of situations as well.
Or even that moment when he fakes, I can't remember the guy's name, but when he fakes out that agent of only putting one bullet in the gun and he lets it take him from him.
Yeah.
Because he knows, interrogating him is not going to get any info. But if he thinks he's about to kill Frank, he can do that. So they made the character very smart. And like we talked about already, but John Berthel is... the thing is he doesn't just play like the intense guy well. Like the emotional stuff is great. Like those sequences when he's having dreams of everyone being killed at Thanksgiving dinner are heartbreaking. And he's so good at it. And the scenes with his wife in the dream sequence, like
he has this look on his face in those scenes with his wife of just like very comfortable, and it's a look like a basic look that he never has in the rest of the show, and it really just gets across like how comfortable that's like really the person he feels most comfortable with.
Yeah, well, and even then though
be himself, if you will.
And that's why like this series alone, like I've always been a John Berthel fan. He's on the man crush list, but like I think he is one of the best actors today because even that scene when it's like the first night where Frank's back, it's in that dream sequence where it's the whole black room and they're on the bed, and she's like talking about like, every time you go back there, the PC, and is this home or that home? He has this like ghostly stare on his face the whole time. That's the one times where he's not calm and whatever. He's like, because he is thinking about like, oh, what do I want? Like, can this be a home? And that's the thing, even though I think he does prefer the war more, I think there was a chance that if his family was still alive, he could have maybe eventually got past that, right? But now that's gone. And I think that scene too of him choosing pretty much to die or to go back in the war zone, like figuratively, shows that there's still the bigger part of him, even if it's a 51%, is more with the blood, the violence, and he'll stick to doing that. And I think they did a great job because sometimes they could make him a little, not cookie cutter, but a little safe, a little too heroic in other past adaptions, and I think they did a great job because Frank Castle's not a sane man, but I think they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, that's definitely, as someone who hasn't really read the comics, like that's a side of Punisher that I've never really known that to be the case, and they don't go into that in Daredevil season 2. He's kind of just a badass who's fucking destroying people.
Yeah.
And maybe has like a couple emotional scenes when he's talking with Daredevil, but for the most part he's just like this killing machine. So seeing that side of it, it's a really interesting storyline. Like that's an interesting character point, like a personality trait that I can't really think I don't think I've really seen that anywhere else. Like it's very unique.
Well, yeah, that's what I say. It really separates him from all the other characters, right? Because like, even though he's doing all this good stuff, he feels very much like a hopeless hero. Like there's no, most heroes there's never a light at the end of the tunnel. But at least like with Matt, it feels like okay, he's trying to save New York. You know, Jessica Jones, that's just her job, but that just gets tangled in. Luke Cage wants to help the neighborhood. Iron Fist wants to save Kunlun.
Fight dragons.
He wants to save Kunlun, you know, like I'm the master. But like they all have this thing of like they have a goal and they want to get to it, and hopefully once they get to that goal, they could live a semi-normal life, right? Or as close as they could possibly get to. Where Frank, I think he feels like he knows that's not a possibility. That's where I did like the ending of the show when he was like, oh, like I've never fought a war, I don't know what to do here. So
I liked his story from start to finish.
I'm interested to see where it goes, but I also don't want for season 2 another 3 episodes of him accepting to be the Punisher. Because this is the thing, I don't know how we get him back in. I have a theory which I'll talk about later because it has to do with another character, but the ending episode was not my least favorite, but some of my least favorite plot points of I hate how Frank gets away with all of it. When they're just like, yeah, we changed the prince up, and it's like, it does. I get it. He did a lot of good stuff, but at the end of the day, and I'm somebody, I've said this on the cast, I support the death penalty. If there was a real life Punisher, I'm one of those people that would be on his side. But I would understand, you know what, if we ever catch the Punisher, he kind of has to go to prison because we're doing illegal stuff. And it's like, we get it. He did a lot of good stuff, but I hate how they're just like, not even, hey, we're going to FBI you, you're going to go off to fucking Canada or Australia, you're going to be off the bat, like, you don't get to stay here anymore in New York City as Pete Castelloni. Like, you can't stay anywhere near New York City where people still know you're alive, but they're just like, oh yeah, go live your life. Like, don't waste a second chance. And
he killed too many innocent people, really, to be...
He didn't kill any innocent people, though.
Well, I thought of those fucking random guards and people that he just killed.
They're all bad guy guards, still.
No, that's bullshit. Like, there's a ton of those guys who are just fucking doing their duty, and so the fact that they just let him go free, it is, I don't know, it's not...
See, that I'll disagree with to an extent, because I feel like they set that up in the show where he does have that episode where he does go to the army base and there's that guy in the hallway, right? And he does say, like, oh, I know it's a Marine guy just trying to do his job. I don't want to have to be put in that position. Mm-hmm. So I think they, on purpose, like, I think you're supposed to assume that all these guys are like the Anvil guys, right? They're all doing super shady stuff. They're all committing crimes. So that's why, for me, like, he can kill those people, where if you look at the cop or that scene where he's like, I'm going to go this way and you got to stop me or don't stop me, he does put aside the innocent people. So maybe there could be some innocent people, but I don't think he killed anyone innocent, but I still think he should probably go to prison or not get his...
Either way, he still killed a shit ton of people. Yeah. Whether or not they deserve it, that's kind of a matter of perspective, and he still just killed all these people.
Well, and why do they think, like, he's gonna stop, you know? Like, I get it, it's like, he got his family, but it's like, Wilson had nothing to do with his family. There's been other people in Daredevil that he killed that were just criminals, you know, like, that's the thing where I felt like
that's not someone you want kicking around. And they even, like, joke about that. They're like, oh, I wonder what he does in his free time or some shit like that.
Well, and it reminds me very much of Luke Cage in Defenders when the season ends with him going to prison in season 1. And I was like, man, how are they going to get at us for Defenders? Like, this must be a big plot point. In the first episode, he's just out of jail. Like, it's only been, like, a few months. They're like, oh, he was good. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like some of the stakes in the show get thrown out the window because I wish Punisher was on the run, and I wish the show ended with him deciding to be that guy who's like, I'm gonna go out. Because the thing, I felt like...
the thing is, when they're coming down to these TV shows, they aren't planning it out like they are with the movies. At least it really doesn't feel like it.
They should.
They should, for sure. Everyone, if you're trying to make a universe, you should plan out everything, for sure. But, I don't know, that doesn't really seem to be the case for these. I think they leave it open enough, or, even in the case of Luke Cage, it's like, we could go into it, but fuck it, we just want to have a quick, easy answer.
Well, I don't even need them to go into it. I just wish that he, like, left and he escaped and he was still on the run. You know, I don't think that we need this whole scene of him, like, oh, we're good now, you're a free man. Like, oh,
I guess they just want to keep him in New York for Daredevil meetups or...
But he can be if he's still living in some underground tunnel where they can't find him, right? Like, that's what he does in the comics. He's just, like, what Micro and him had was what they really have. And this is the thing that I was disappointed that I like the ending, but I would like the ending if this was like okay, we're only doing one season of Punisher. It's just this great 13 story, and you might see him here and there in other shows. But the thing is, if we get a season 2, I feel like we got to do the whole, okay, there has to be an inciting incident for Frank to come back and want to be the Punisher. We have to somehow get Micro in it, where I just kind of wanted them, at the end of Daredevil season 2, I felt like Punisher was going to go out and be the Punisher and just take out criminal and scum. He even said that to Daredevil, and even Fisk let him go. That's the other thing. They shouldn't let him just go. He's still an escaped convict from prison. Like, he's still... But this is the thing, like...
It doesn't make any sense.
No, but my biggest thing, that I can write off, it's the... For season 2, I don't want 2 to 3 episodes more of him having to decide, like, oh, I'm going to do this full time. Like, I felt like at the end of the season, he should have already been, like, this is my life now. Like, this is... Like, he chose not to die, so he's gonna... But now we're at him with... During the war meetings, and he's trying to kill himself.
Yeah, I guess they're kind of setting up so it'll either be, like, the first couple episodes are set up, or... It just starts during the action and does it through like flashbacks or something like that.
And who knows? Obviously, I think it's still going to be great. Like, I don't hate it, but it's just another thing where I feel like it could be... I was fine with it at the end of the day with them doing that episode where he was gone because it all worked, but I don't want that again in season 2. That's my worry, that we're going to get him... Because I really think, and I guess jumping ahead, I really think what it's going to be is Billy's going to come back as a criminal, and he's going to be like, man... I really fucked up because I didn't put him down. This is what happens when you don't put down criminals, and that's going to be the inciting incident. I just didn't want inciting incident. I already felt he was the Punisher. Right now, he keeps kind of jumping back and forth between Punisher and Frank Castle. Yeah. Like, why didn't he just wear the fucking vest the whole season? I don't understand it. Like, he, at the episode 2, I get it's a fanboy thing, but it's like, why at the end of episode 2, or the second last episode, he spray paints the vest, right? And he's like, putting it on. It's like, this is what I mean. I don't understand that. Why is he the Punisher now? Like, he's still just going after the same people. And that's where it's like, okay, this is the sign that he's chosen this. This is his new life. But then at the end, he's like trying to be normal again. So it's like, he keeps going back and forth between, is he Frank Castle, is he Punisher? And I wish we had like a concrete, like, this is who he is now. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think about it as much as you did.
Yeah. I just know. That vest, you know.
I'm not thinking about season 2. I'm still thinking about this season. I'm still trying to consider this season.
I'm always thinking about season 2.
They
set up a lot of stuff, and one thing they did set up for season 2 is good old Billy.
Good old Billy.
So, good old Billy. What do you think about Billy? Because I had a vibe that you did not like Billy.
Well, I think he just wasn't, like, written very well. Like, I don't really feel like I was given, like, an understanding of his motives enough to justify what he did.
Yeah.
Because I still don't really get it. So he set up, or he was the one who killed his family?
No, he even said, I do believe that was the thing he knew about, but he had no part of it. So he knew it was coming, but he didn't stop it.
Okay. So he was kind of evil just for money?
Yeah,
then?
just that. Just for, like... And
so that's why, for me, it's like... Yeah, he was fine, and I think he really, like, through the acting, did a really good job of being, like, this really sleazy, scumbag sort of dude. And he was kind of badass at moments as well. I think I wanted more of him and Frank. I wanted more of them, like, either... Because they had a couple moments where they also had, like, a wild goose chase looking for each other as well, a cat and mouse sort of thing, constantly looking for each other. But I wanted more scenes of them together, or...
Yeah.
Because obviously he mentions that that's like his best friend, you know? And I don't know, I think they really could have done a whole lot more with that. Because the whole time they were kind of just, you know, talking to each other through the phone the odd time, or they were off doing separate things.
And he doesn't find out Frank's alive till like halfway through the season.
I think those two had good chemistry, but I also feel like they had a very little amount of scenes together.
Yeah.
For how, like, important, I guess, the story was set up to be. So I think that's why I'm disappointed. He's a very, like, basic villain in terms of what was his motive. He just wanted money, and then he was a bad guy, which is fine, I guess. It's not, like, terribly intriguing for me. Like, I'm thinking about, okay, will I, like, if I watch this show again, why am I watching it again? I'm going to watch it for Punisher and Micro, whereas that villain and Medina, like, I don't give a shit, really. Like, I don't need to see their story ever again because it is so basic. Mm-hmm. So I just really, really wanted more from him and Frank, because the other guy as well, I can't remember his name. Rollins, yeah, like Rollins. Yeah. He was like really bad. Like that was.
You didn't like him.
No, like he was
Rollins.
Incredibly uninteresting character.
Yeah.
Through acting and through, like, writing, and then he was like, just like this weird, fierce animal when he was punishing He was torturing Punisher.
Punishing
at the end.
torture.
Torture.
Yeah.
At the end, and like it just didn't fit the character at all. Like for what we had seen from the last 12 episodes. So
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't really like those two a whole lot, and I don't think they would have really taken much for me to really like Billy.
Yeah.
I think if they showed more, like, like, I'm not a huge fan of, like, flashbacks generally, but even if they did show more flashbacks with him and the family and establishing this huge relationship and then actually going into it and showing what it was like in present day when he finds out that Punisher's still alive.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's opportunity there for a really good story, and they just went with something basic instead. Something that was passable, something that worked, it made sense. He did have motives, technically.
Mm-hmm.
They're not anything interesting.
Do you have any interest in seeing him come back?
Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't thought it all forward yet. Like
Fair enough.
I'm not there yet. I'm still
Yeah.
thinking about this show.
Yeah, so with Billy, I think honestly I would put him third behind Fisk and Kilgrave, but I think it's just on acting pretty much alone. I think he was better written near the end though, as far as the character. I love the stuff where with Rollins, I don't know how you say it, Rollins. But when him and Rollins get in that fight and he goes and unclips Frank, I think near the end they showed more levels of. I like that it was letting Frank just beat Rollins to death while he stood there, but he was still gonna kill Frank.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the way he was. I liked his interactions with Medina. Like I don't know why. Like it's a classic. It's a classic mix up of like all these lovers and they're
those
now
characters are better together than on their own.
Yeah, and I liked all that. I think the scene. I think what it flipped for me really liking was the bomb scene or the bomb episode with Wilson when they
There's
did
a lot
that.
of bombs. You got to be more specific.
There was the episode in the hotel room that was told like out of chronological order.
Yeah.
I really like that because you really got the sense of how sleazy he was. I love the standoff with Medina, Punisher, and Frank. Like great intense scenes.
It was a super it was shot really strangely as well. Very atypical, and I like that aspect of it.
And then before that, the episode was when he killed Sam, and then after that, I got all these good moments from him being character. I really love the flashback of him with Frank's family and the kids and everything like that. That established that well. I think I like the character. I think what you said is the motives. Where if you look at Kilgrave, he's a guy that he's always been he's been not picked on, but he's been a project his whole life, right?
Yeah.
Like he's been
not treated like a human.
Exactly, and he doesn't even know. He said that many times, like, oh, when I ask people, I want them to give me a real response, but I can't get that. Fisk, obviously, we saw he had a very troubled past, and it started with him just wanting to help the city.
Mm-hmm.
Now he wants to rule it, but whatever. It started in a way that made sense. We don't really get that with Billy. We don't get the starting point. I think the ending point's good.
You sort of do. Like, he mentions that he never had a family, and he was jealous of Frank's family.
Very little, though.
Very little,
with both Kilgrave, we had all those videos. Quillgrave, his brother.
Super cool.
Yeah, his power is quills. Listen to him. I don't know. Like we had video diaries of his past. Fisk got a whole episode and everything like that. I think we maybe needed a Billy-like episode, and I think that would have fit because to me, I think he has the ending of a great villain. I just don't think he has the beginning of a great villain.
Even like more scenes of him, Curtis, and Punisher, all three of those together, that could have been fun.
Yeah. So no, I really liked him from the back season on. I think Ben Barnes did a great job. I've not seen
I've not
seen him in anything else other than Narnia, Prince Caspian back in the day.
Wow, I forgot that movie existed.
He was Prince Caspian.
I don't remember who that is.
He's the Prince Caspian.
I remember the closet.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
Is it a closet or?
They go into a closet.
I guess.
Or a wardrobe or
it's
some shit.
Yeah, it is a wardrobe.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
No.
It's the same thing.
No, if I bought a closet, it's not the same thing as a wardrobe. But no, I really liked him. He brought great intensity when I think the cops, the CIA went to his house to try and get him. Great. Just like him going around picking these people off. He had that great badass villain vibe, which some villains don't even have that. He had the Assassin's Creed wrist blade that Taylor would just love.
Oh, I know. I was like, Taylor, you gotta watch this show.
Gotta watch the show, yeah. I really loved his last scene with Frank in the merry-go-round. Super intense, super scary, super brutal. And they set it up well.
Full circle moments.
Yeah, they set it up well because the whole film or the whole show they're talking about his face and how he's a pretty boy and everything. Okay. We'll put that back now. They're all talking about his face, and if you're a comic book reader, you know who he is. So you'll get a laugh at this. He becomes Punisher's arch nemesis named Jigsaw.
Jigsaw.
So as you can, I don't know if you
great movie. check out our review and find out why.
So he, what happens is they changed his origins up a lot from the comic books. Comic books, he's not Frank's friend at all. He's just a simple hitman named the Butte because his face is like the beauty, you know, like so he's known for his good looks and everything like that.
My nickname.
Yeah, I mean, well, one day, next podcast, you get the Butte.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very similar. He puts his face through glass, and then after that, he has that incident, and then they've hinted at the show where they're like, oh, like he might have had some like brain cells lost, something like that. He won't know if he's the same. After in the comics, he has this incident with Castle. He is completely like fucking nuts, and he hates Frank Castle. I think we're gonna get that, and his face is like all messed up and it's sewn together, and he looks like really scary and everything like that.
He already did kind of look scary, so.
I think he looked like a fine young gentleman, but
really?
Yeah, so he
would not be described as the Butte anymore.
So that's why they call him Jigsaw, because his face looks like a jigsaw like puzzle. So
it looks like he came out of a jigsaw trap.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, that too. Even though he debuted in the like this 80s or something, but you know.
So did Saul. Saul's been around since the start of time. It's in the Bible.
I gotta see that one. So I do think there's chance for him to grow and be better. I think next season you're gonna see a lot different Billy. He's gonna be very crazy, very out there. But I like that because I was worried at some point they were gonna kill him, and I didn't want that.
I thought he died.
What? With the glass and everything.
He like the way he was unconscious. He looked dead.
Yeah, but Punisher.
And I feel like I would die in that. Like I would have died if had Punisher done that to me.
You're not as tough as Billy, you know.
I don't think I am.
I love the second he slammed his face up against the glass and he rubbed it on the broken glass. That's one, it was brutal, but two, as a comic fan, I was like, yes, because I'm like, we know what's coming. He's a good character. So yeah, I'm excited he made it.
Cool.
Rollins, I thought, was boring for the most part. I really love the torture scene with Frank because I thought that's the one time he was good. I think they kind of established.
It was the one time he actually showed any sort of emotion or change in like his face.
But I thought he was scary and really intimidating in that scene. I actually did. Like he was really messed up.
I guess I just knew that Punisher was gonna fuck him up, so I wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that intimidation from him.
And I think they did lay it enough that it seemed like in his war days he was maybe a bit shady at times.
Oh, yeah.
So like a bit, but like he had like that like almost all of them, right? They always talk about how they kind of have like a violence under them, like underneath their soul, and
their soul.
That came out
deep within the cookie jar.
Yeah, that came out in that scene. I will say maybe the reason I was worried because I won't lie, I thought there was a chance he was gonna die, Frank Castle. I really did, because John Bernthal is such
for a little bit. I was thinking this could be bold. I don't want this, but
they
could do it.
Oh yeah, me either. Because the thing was the way if you look, that's why I said the way the season ends.
Yeah.
It could have worked as a one-season show, and with him dying, it could have. And the only reason I thought was just because I remember when they got John Bernthal to be the Punisher, I was like, oh, he's still up and coming, but he was clearly like the biggest actor they had hired so far, and he's only gotten more and more popular. Yeah. Like he was in Baby Driver this year, he was in Wolf of Wall Street a couple of years ago. Yeah. Like he started.
I liked his character in that movie, by the way.
Which one?
In Wolf of Wall Street. Well, both of them.
But. Yeah, great. He's always great. He knocks it out of the park, and that's the thing where I thought we might not get him for a while, and I thought, man, what a way, like, he'll start in Daredevil season 1 or season 2, and then like, oh, and then we're gonna do this like 13 episode really balls to wall season, and then we're gonna end shocking, because that would have had everyone talking. So in those torture scenes, I actually did think he was not gonna make out for a while, just the way the show was going to. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna kill him. It's ballsy, but I don't want it to happen. And I'm glad it didn't, because there's so much more.
There's so much more for this character.
I don't want him teaming up with the Defenders, but I do want to see him interact with some of those characters, even if they got to take him down.
Just kills Iron Fist.
Wow, yikes!
Brutal.
Go back to Kunlun, Danny. But
get out of here.
So yeah, we talked about them. What do you? I guess we can talk about this in general. What do you think about the inclusion of kind of Frank Castle's army buddies, the army in general, the idea of PTSD, Curtis, Wilson, all that? And you can talk to the listeners, because I'm going to quickly run and get a charging cord for my laptop.
Sounds good.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think it was actually really well done, and that's not typically the genre I'm a fan of. We've talked about this before on the podcast, but that was a big turning point for me watching Dunkirk, because it's not really a genre I'm into, but I think they used it really well in this show, particularly with the character. I think his name was Wilson. Yeah, the younger dude.
Wilson.
The little blonde.
Superman.
The little. I guess I don't know why I'm calling him little. He's not really little.
I think he's bigger than you.
Smaller than John Bernthal.
Yeah, that's why.
Anyway, he was he did something in Afghanistan, or I don't know, he did something or other, and he was in that circle with Curtis. and I don't know. I really liked his storyline. Actually, I think the actor did a really good job.
Really like the actor. He was really good.
All of his facial expressions. He had like such a diverse range, and so I really liked that character. I think that was a really good build up of Frank Castle and his PTSD and his experience with war, kind of alongside that character, even though that character doesn't make it. And he's really he dies in episode 10 or 9. Like he doesn't.
It's 10.
Yeah, it's like early. I guess it's like in the third quarter of the show. So I don't know. I think that was a really good like build up with having those two characters alongside, because I think they were kind of different perspectives, and they looked at the world. Yeah, they dealt with it. They dealt with it differently, and they looked at the world differently afterwards. And I don't know. I think it was really well done. I think that character was a really strong point for me. And honestly, there was a lot less than I thought there was going to be in terms of like actual scenes of them like in battle and wars and stuff like that.
I think because it's not cheap to shoot that stuff.
Fair enough.
I bet that
could be the reason.
There are a lot of stuff that are just intense, right? And like this army area, so I think that's why.
I think they do. Because what is it, episode 3, where it's just like pretty much the whole flashback episode?
Yeah.
I think they do it enough. Like I don't think they necessarily needed more. I thought they were gonna do more.
Yeah.
I think the amount they did was perfect, and I think you really understand Frank Castle, like what he went through, and it really works as an origin story. And even it sets up Billy well, and because Curtis. Was he part of that squad?
Yeah.
Like, was he in that room where the video was being filmed? Like I don't
know if he was in that room.
I never got that.
He was in a couple of those because they were wearing masks. So
and obviously
he was in the flashbacks.
Punisher does have the scene describing how he lost his leg. So I don't know if that was real. I don't know if he just said that to fuck with Curtis. But
I think it was real. But I'll just assume Curtis was in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they used it really well.
Yeah.
A good amount.
Yeah, I liked, first of all, I'll start with Curtis. Loved Curtis. And lots of those characters I usually don't. He's very minor, but
yeah, me too, actually.
Really liked him. Every time he was put in harm's risk, I was like, oh man, like I don't want him to die. Like I want him to make it. Because he had like 2 strokes with death where he almost bit the dust. So I was really happy he made it. I want to see more. Just a good buddy for Frank. And now with other people dead or gone bad, he can be that touchstone to the war at least. Like that guy they always refer back to or talk about their experiences. So I'm happy he made it. Wilson, I really liked. I loved the angle PTSD. Like the scene that really hit it home for me was when he dug like the trench in his backyard. That was great. His interactions with his father were great. They really, I think, handled it pretty well, other than not every person with PTSD becomes a bomber and things like that. Like that happened. But like, I mean, with the other stuff, like, it was really well done. And the thing was, I really liked it, but for the most part, I didn't know if it needed to be in this show until we figured out, till it got to the end, because until it got to the moment where it did cross over and he's kind of the impetus for Medina finding out Billy's bad and Punisher. At that point, I literally thought, okay, it's going to be this character who's having these problems, and then it's just going to be this one-off episode with Punisher, Karen, and him. And the episode was still would have been fine, but I didn't want that to me an episode that, okay, you could cut this and make this 10 episodes. That's what I mean. Like, I was liking Wilson. I thought the actor was great, especially the scenes where he is bombing. Like, he was really good at playing this cold calculating, but kind of unhinged at the same moment. Like, there's just little stuff when he walks up to the guy, he's like, oh, he told me to relieve you, and then a second he's cold and he kills him. Like, he does a fantastic job, and even his interactions with Karen, but for a while I was like, I don't know if I need this in the show, because we already have, it was good showing the other levels of PTSD, but we already have Frank going through it. I want to spend more time with him. Like I said, it paid off at the end, so I think next time I watch it, I'll like it more, but for a while I was just like, where are we going with this? Because I didn't see that we were going to get to the part where Billy and the whole gang would be involved. I thought it was just going to be him as a separate villain, and I don't want that. Like, I don't want this side story. It's like, we can do that another time. We can find another way to bring in Karen. Yeah. But
I understand that. I mean, honestly, like, if they took that character out, and I don't think it would have taken much tweaking with the script, really, to make the story fully functional.
Yeah, to him to get to Billy. Yeah.
But I mean, I liked it enough because it was a side storyline. It was like a side quest, if you will, and it had a good ending. And I really, like, that scene when he goes and kills that guy who was lying to him about being to Vietnam was brutal. Just fucking brutal. And then the fact that he just left the guy there and he was just living in his house, and then he like got Curtis there, and the way he was just like constantly going for Curtis's leg was just just so like really down and dirty, you know. And I think they just did a great job. And any time him and Frank were interacting, I I
really
love
good.
that.
That
And
scene when they had the phone call scene was really good.
It kind of felt like Frank was talking like a younger version of himself in ways, right? He was like offering him advice or like a different perspective, and it didn't seem like he was just doing it to get out of shit. It seemed like he was doing it because there is a side of Frank that is just a really that is a good guy and just wants people to, I don't know.
Well, even then he's like kind of like trying to help him out through him killing himself too at the end there. He's like, "Oh, come on, you can do it, kid. You can do it." Like it was like there is this form.
In that scene, it's more like I'm gonna save Karen, but it's still like him trying to be a good guy.
There is a sense of like code of honor for these like soldiers, right? So no, and I thought that was all good. I liked the war flashbacks. There weren't too many of them, which I really worried about when I saw the previews because I want flashbacks. I do want to know more of his story. Marvel Netflix does that a lot with flashbacks.
Yeah.
But I didn't want 2 to 3 episodes of it. I didn't want too much of it. I thought it was just enough. They could have used maybe a little bit more and it wouldn't even been bad, but I was happy. It set the stage up well and it set like it, and it was good too of showing when he does kill that guy that ended up being innocent. With the whole videotape thing, like Frank kills the guy, and I think that was good because it shows they always talk in movies lots of times, especially if they're like PG-13. The soldiers will talk about stuff they had to do over there, but they'll always just like kind of like, oh, that's stuff I do, and that was it. But like you really saw like they did some really terrible stuff, and Frank knows he did some terrible stuff, and he knows that he kind of has like to. Like, kind of has to pay a penance for that in a way, and that's kind of him giving back is killing these other criminals, and I think
saving lives through helping other criminals.
Yeah, and I think they did that well. Where I think if you would have had more of those war scenes, that would have lost its importance. That would have just been like another bad thing. But the fact that they made this event such a big thing, because it's like we took him in front of his family. He was a cop, like he was a stand-up citizen, right, and killed him. So, what was I gonna say? We haven't talked about Karen yet. What do you think about Karen?
I like Karen.
You're a Karen lover, you know.
I don't know if I'd say I'm a lover.
A lover of fight? No.
But, I always enjoyed her storylines in Daredevil. Yeah, I mean, are they entirely necessary? Maybe not really. But I always liked her. I think she's a solid actress. And so in this show, I was curious how much she'd be in it. And I feel like she was in it exactly as much as I was expecting.
I thought she was in it more than I thought. I thought she'd only be like a 1 or 2 arc. But I think she was in it for like a 1 or 2 episodes worth, but they sprinkled it throughout the season. Yeah,
therefore she was probably in like 5 separate episodes.
Yeah, most of those episodes, other than the bomb one, was all like 1 or 2 scenes. So
yeah, I love the dynamic between her and Frank. It's I don't know. I find it very intriguing.
Yeah,
because like she really has no business, and she should be like so terrified of this guy, but she spent the time obviously in Daredevil to understand him and get to know him and why he does what he does and his methods. So I don't know. I always like seeing that. I think I guess with her, because she was also tied with the storyline of Wilson.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I guess that kind of culminates to that scene where he is holding her and he has like the bomb in his hand. Yeah. And I really like that scene when she's like, pointing at the wire and Frank's just like subtly like saying, no, not that one, not that one. I thought that was fun. So yeah. I feel like I don't have too much to say because I feel like she wasn't a huge impact on the story. She was kind of there as like it felt like, okay, here's your Daredevil character making an appearance rather than.
Well, Matt's dead right now, maybe.
Yeah.
Like into the world, right? Daredevil's dead. So yeah. Spoilers, but come on.
Big spoilers.
Defender's been off her.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have much to say about her. Like I feel like her story wasn't really that much. It was minimal. Yeah. So I'm glad she was there though. I like to see her around, and like I said, I like the dynamic between her and Frank.
So I'm a notorious Karen disliker. I'm one of the millions. No, I don't know how many there are. But I've always liked her enough. I think it's just, I said before, it's that I find sometimes in Daredevil that character gets put in too much. There's always trying to find a reason for her to be in the show. I don't like her with Matt and their relationship. I find it's not the strongest, and not even that they're chemistry because they're both good actors, but it's just. There's just something about the.
Well, sometimes you can have two good actors that just don't mesh well together. Right?
True, I guess I don't even know if it's that because they do the romance right. It's just I never feel it with them, and maybe it's because Matt's lying to her all the time. So I don't know. It's just I think
he is a big liar.
And maybe it's more just this where to me in the show she always sometimes feels more like a nuisance and she slows down the plot. I don't think she felt like this at all. This is my favorite iteration of Karen. I really liked her in this show because once again she was used sparingly, and to me, her in this show feels more important than her being in every single episode of Daredevil. Because when she appears in the show, it's meaningful and it's important. Whether it's her helping out Frank, whether it's Mendina tracking her down to interrogate her, whether it's the bomb episode.
I like that scene as well.
Whether like that's thing. I think the small dose is the quality over quantity. Daredevil will never do that because she's a supporting character. I get it, that's how TV shows work, but I think they would be much better if they did do that. I think the Punisher and her have like amazing. Well, I guess her and Berthol have like amazing. Yeah, they have amazing chemistry. They are. When I look at Matt and her, it's like okay, it's fine, it's good. With them, it's like I want them to be together. Obviously, I don't really want them to be together because I would slow down the show. But like they could sleep together. They could have a quick little run. I don't know what it's gonna be.
A little romp in the hay.
Yeah, they've hinted at it, and I think it's good that they're kind of doing this like. The classic star-crossed lover thing that can never be together because he is a criminal and she's
a mass murderer.
Yeah, exactly, and she's a reporter. That classic case, you know, when a boy meets a girl. But I think they do a good job of that. I like Frank holding her such a value, like so high. I know some comic book fans might not because Frank is not a romantic character. He does have sex in the comic books, but he never really gets attached to anybody after his family. It's very animalistic needs, and that's about it. Many women have tried. He's like, nope, like I'm not your guy. So I know some people might not like when he's just like, I gotta save Karen. I do like it because this is a different version. They adapt from the comics, so they change things. But in Daredevil, she was the only person really that didn't look at him like he was sick or twisted. Like she knows he needed help, but everyone else kind of looked at him like an animal, right, or a monster. Where she saw a person that was damaged, you know. And she sometimes cuts him more flack than she does Matt. You know, Matt, I feel like she's always questioning, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? But
big time.
Punisher, she gets it, you know, and that's what I think they get each other. I think they do subtle things like, well, I won't spoil that, but we talked about some of the Iron Man retrospective that I really liked. Just little stuff like him just kissing her on the cheek. It's not a full thing. I think that could eventually happen, but they'll never be in a relationship. But I think they have great chemistry together. And every time I see them, I'm like, I want them to be together. And, you know, Elektra can come back and be with Matt. Or Matt and Jessica Jones. But
Let's do it.
Yeah, so I thought she was used great. I love the episode with the bomb and everything like that. I think she had the great back and forth with the cop from Daredevil, too. I always forget his name.
Brett Mahoney.
Yeah, always like standing up for him, things like that. So
I like that he made an appearance.
I like that Turk made an appearance as well.
Dude, big Turk. I love Turk.
He needs to be in more, like not too much more, but I episode want him to be in.
Yeah, I love that he's just like this classic hustler. He's always around looking to make a quick buck selling some weapons or fucking doing some underground pinball championships or something.
Oh god, with Jonas. I just wonder if that actor's always like, man, like when am I gonna get my big break here? Like I don't need him to be
yeah, and this one they sent him like a little just a little like fucking sticky note that has his one line on it.
I just want to be similar to that one episode of Daredevil when he like got kidnapped along with Karen, right? And he was there the whole time with her. Yeah. I want something like that. But then again, if it's forced, it feels weird, but he
seems like he's just like cameo appearances now.
He's their Stan Lee.
Yeah,
he
actually he's the TV version of the Stan Lee.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm trying to think characters we'll touch upon. I guess we talk more. I want to talk about the action because the action was great. I think my favorite episode of the entire season was the second last episode with.
Really?
Yeah. You did not like that?
That was probably my least favorite episode.
When Frank's getting tortured or that?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that because we get everything. We get Punisher killing people, being super violent. Yeah. We get the great switch over with Micro and everything like that. I love the scenes with Micro. I did love all the weird dream sequences Frank was having. Yeah. I love the back and forth him and Billy was happening of the whole. If I tell you this, will you put me down easy, everything like that, and then it's revealed that there's a camera up there and Frank planned the whole thing. No, that is easily I think the best episode of easily the best of the season. Yeah, and that is the most brutal episode. The way he kills Rollins with the fucking eyes and the way Frank is just beat to shit, like very brutal. And Billy, some reason, has an obsession with bathing people. You know, that have blood on them. He does it to Mendina. He does it to her. Bathing people, yeah, bathing.
I love there's an action scene. I think it might be in episode 2 would be my guess, where Punisher breaks into that guy's mansion, and it's I forget who that guy is because it was so.
He's like Mendina's like boss or
that guy. Yeah. I love that scene while they have the songs in Fallout, and I was getting some nostalgia vibes. And that was just such a brutal scene as well. Yeah.
But and the action was great. I think that scene when the soldiers do show up to the thing we talked about, right? We're great. Let's talk about them. Why was that episode? What were you not digging about that episode?
Man, it's so
Because to
hard.
me that just stood out. I was like, this is the episode of the season. I thought like every season has. I feel like that was like, and if not, what was your favorite? Like, did you have?
I think one of my problems with that episode. Well, actually, the whole time I was watching, I thought it was the last episode. So when Micro died, I was like, seriously, like this is ending like that's fucking awful. Like you could have done that so much better. One of my big problems is actually. In that exchange, when they're trading Frank and David for his family, and to go into the van, Punisher, he gets like knocked out, and they take him in the van. And I was thinking, okay, he's faking that he's knocked out. Like that was a very uncharacteristic thing. Punisher has never been knocked out that easily. It was one hit, and he was knocked out.
I think he was faking because his plan was to get them back there for the video camera, right? And remember, he was like, Frank wanted to sacrifice himself, so I think that was his plan to get knocked.
Okay.
Like, I think he was faking it. We'll never know, but I think he was, because the plan was to get them in front of that camera to record them all, like them killing him, right? I think it was, I think we're supposed to take it as he planned it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that changes things, I don't know. I think a big thing for me was that Roland's guy, because he was like in that scene a whole lot, and I just didn't like that character very much at all.
Because he's in that episode quite a bit.
He is. I really did like those weird demented visions he was having of his wife.
They just have a sex scene in the middle and getting beat.
It was super strange, and I really like that part. But I just remember like it's so hard because I just watched 10 hours of the show today that it's hard for me to differentiate the episodes. I remember really liking that scene. But I can't remember what it is. But the rest of that episode, there was something about that episode that I was really not a fan of.
I love the torture. Frank would not quit, and they just beat the holy hell out of him, you know?
They did.
I did feel like I thought Karen was going to be that suitcase for a second, though. Because at one point, they're like...
Karen's going to be the suitcase?
Well, at first I thought, oh, she's too tall. So
I did not think that was
Well, the only reason was because, and until I knew, okay, his game plan was to get them to kill him, when they were talking about getting these codes...
Yeah.
I felt like these two would know that torturing Frank is not gonna get them this, really, you know, right? Because if anyone can not get tortured and get tortured and not say anything, it's gonna be Frank Castle.
Big P,
so Big P. Honestly, that was his plan, but I thought they were gonna say, "Oh yeah, like no, we're not." The reason I thought that was in Daredevil season 2. There's a moment where a guy's torturing him. He's like, "Oh, you can do whatever you can," and they brought out his dog that he owned at the time, and then he broke and he gave them information, and then he still got his way out of it.
So Karen's just a dog, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah. No, I thought for sure that was gonna be...
A funny thing with that, like, that whole segment, I guess, is they had, like, some random hacker girl in there. She was trying to hack into the computer. And
Did they kill her?
Did they kill her?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
They could have. But, I don't know. So she was, like, hacking something, and then they brought Frank over to, like, put the password in, and it was really funny, because Billy just, like, was like, get the fuck out of here, and then he just, like, threw her bag at her. It was just really awkward. I felt bad for that actress.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Billy's a piece of crap, yeah.
Billy's
the one thing it has nowhere to fit where I want to throw this in. It's a con. I did not like that one episode where Frank was about to assassinate Rollins, and there's the bulletproof glass. Because literally, he gets there, he shoots it, all these alarms go off, the episode ends, I'm like, oh, next episode's going to be about him trying to get out of here. And now he's just back at the base with Micro. I was like, why did we even do that then? You know, like, I get it, it's to be like, oh, Frank's coming for him, but I thought that there was going to be a big action set piece. I thought this full episode's about, can he get out of this, like, military guarded, like, house? And no, we just see him, like, slink away, like, and literally that's what he did, and he was free. So I had nowhere to put that in this review, but I wanted to talk because it was a big con. I was like, I was excited, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, nothing happened.
No, you're right. And how do you feel about the fact that there was, like, just bulletproof glass? Like, do you think he should have seen that coming?
No.
I was watching that episode with my roommate, and he was like, come on, man, like, Micro should have known that was...
Well, I don't know if there's a telltale sign of what is and what isn't bulletproof glass.
But,
right?
I mean, he can hack. He could go into his files and see, oh, he spent $5,000 on bulletproof glass.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Could be, yeah.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I don't have anything too specific.
What did you think of?
I didn't catch.
What did you think of Medina
and
her partner then, and like that dynamic or the partner in general?
I was happy he died.
He was kind of boring,
and that's why I want her to die too. I just
really
I want the cops to die in these shows.
No,
I thought their back and forth was alright. I liked that they figured out that their office was wired, and that scene was kind of fun. And I liked how they outsmarted Billy initially until Billy ended up killing Sam, and he's like, "Who's pretty now?" And then like I like he threw the classic like bad guy
the classic
quip or something. Yeah, but No, I didn't care. Honestly, I won't lie. There's a few times when they were talking, like, I went to check my phone. I'm like, oh no, like, watch it. You're here for the review. But, like, they're just talking. Like, it's not even the story.
I think it's because they're in it from the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
So they're just constantly there, and it feels like their storyline should be more important. It maybe feels like that guy... Like, I was hoping that when... I can't actually remember what his name was, but the partner... Sam, right. Yeah. When Sam was dying on the ground, I thought that he was going to say to Medina, hey, it was Billy.
Which doesn't make sense.
That would have been... I think that would have been interesting. It would have actually given that character, like, a purpose, really. Because at this point, what did he really do? Like, why did he need to be there? Why couldn't have Medina just been on her own?
It was someone from...
And like... That would have maybe even made more sense why she got so attached to Billy, right?
Yeah. Maybe
because she just wanted a friend, and maybe it's a little bit more on the side, if you know what I mean.
I think he was just supposed to be the symbol for a friend that died and was pushing her even closer to the case and made her more mad. Because for a few episodes, she was just like, you killed Sam, when she finds out it was Billy, right? Mm-hmm. So it was a big thing.
I wanted to like her character more, but...
Me too.
They just didn't really... There just wasn't enough there.
Yeah. Well, another thing with Billy not telling her, I thought, okay, she's not going to find out for a while, but she finds out, like, the episode after that it's him. So it's like, well, but I guess they just wanted to, they want that. I guess what would you rather take, though? I'd rather take the stairwell reveal over Sam just telling her, right? Because if he tells that, we don't get that stairwell stare down between all three of them. That's where I feel I've seen them depart. I felt like it was like that where, I like that scene where all these three characters have been kind of tied, but they've been on their own separate tracks, and it all comes together eventually in this moment. And that's why I like the crime element of eventually, even with Wilson, it all came together and tied up. And that's why I did like that.
I love when Punisher just like walks right up and puts like her gun like right to his head, and he's like, do it, and he just like walks away.
I like that
he does that multiple times, and it's always fucking sweet.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I love that one of his escape plans when all the cops show up is he literally just takes the fire hose and just jumps all the way down, like breaks his arm.
Yeah, dude, I was like, this is great. He's just popping off right now.
Yeah, I don't have anything I don't think to touch on. I don't think, like I said, I've talked about potential stuff coming down the line.
It's tricky with these 13-hour things. Like, I definitely am forgetting something.
Oh yeah,
but I can't really think of it right now.
No. Well, then I'll throw in my final thoughts. But yeah, I don't want to retread like maybe I thought season 2 did. But no, I think this is up there with some of the better seasons with the Jones. I honestly want to watch this and Jones back to back because the thing is with Jones, I really like it, and it's just because Kilgrave's so strong. Sometimes I wonder how much is that a helpful thing for the show. Like, is that a thing? Is it just, do I love it so much because it's just him? Like, does that elevate it? Because Punisher, I liked Billy a lot, but he's no Kilgrave. So.
No, he's not.
But these two are definitely kind of close together, but I give Punisher just a bit of the edge just because, like I said, I do feel like there's an arc with Punisher. I feel, and that's the other thing I'll throw it again. I feel like I got more excited as the season went on. I remember Luke Cage, I really liked it at the start, and then it got kind of boring. Iron Fist, I did feel it got better, but it didn't get like amazingly better. With this was when we were getting the finale, when we got to them coming to Micro's base, when we got to the episode I really loved, him getting tortured, when we got to the finale of him hunting down Billy, they all felt like big moments that were escalating, and that's why I really like John Bernthal. Is amazing. I could watch him do anything else. In this show, I know I'm going to rewatch again because I just like seeing John Bernthal be the Punisher, He's perfect at it. There's some side characters that weren't the greatest. I don't think I showed him all enough, but Micro, I loved Micro. I thought he was fantastic. Yep. Great chemistry. I hope they do. I hope in season 2 he should come back. They find a way to bring him back. They got to be in more scenes together. Like I said, a very strong show, a very brutal show, a very intense show, very weird show, and a very great show. I would drop it, for me, I would drop it 9 skulls out of 10. Just because I think the only one I've given like a 10 to like the very first season of Daredevil. Even though I like the second season better, I think it's the pacing's just off the charts. And it flows well in that story of like Daredevil and Fisk. It just works so well. This, like I said, there's a few side characters I didn't love. I'll see about season 2. Like I said, I didn't love the ending of he's not the Punisher right now and the like, oh, you're good to go. So that could kind of retroactively change my score in the future, but a solid 9. Like I said, I think I downplayed because I started with cons and then I've gone to positive, but loved it. Loved the show, and I'm gonna watch again, and I hope we get season 2 next year. I hope there's not a fucking couple of years gaps. I hope it's next year. We're going, seeing him killing some people, and I'm there.
Yep. As for myself, I love every single scene that Punisher and Micro have, be it on their own or together. So while I do have some problems with some of the side characters and villains, it's like heavily overshadowed by how good Punisher is. And I mean that's what the show is called. That's what it's about. And he's the main. He's your star.
Yeah.
And
the Big P.
The Big P. He kills it yet again. So yeah, I really enjoyed the show. It's I mentioned this earlier, and I do want to rewatch it at some point for Punisher. But when it comes down to the story of like the other characters, I really don't feel like it needs like another watch. And so I don't know. I feel like if I watch it again, I'll probably
the Netflix shows.
No, I just mean like
I wish there was like a Netflix button you could press that would just be
through the Punishers.
Yeah, just
honestly, I think I like when I ever do rewatch it, I might like skip past like your Medinas and I don't know. I guess the thing with so many names. The thing with Billy is like he at least like acting wise can really portray that badass quality. So I really like the show. I'm happy with it. I think I would put it. My order is probably Daredevil. I don't know which season. I have to watch them both again.
They're both great.
Those are the two best, and then Jessica Jones, and then this probably right above Defenders.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, Luke Cage, Iron Fist.
Well, I'm excited because with Jessica Jones season 2, they haven't announced a release date. But do you think you'll rewatch season 1 before that happens, or try to?
Yes, I think I'll have to.
Yeah, because we'll ask that again when it gets closer. Because the same thing, I want to rewatch that, comparing it to Punisher, and seeing what do I like more. Because Jones has some of the same problems. There's side characters I don't like in Jones and things.
Punisher obviously just goes in a totally different direction where it really doesn't really feel like a superhero movie or TV show, right? Just because it is more realism. I know it's still like kind of over the top, but it is more realistic in that sense. And there's no superpowers or supernatural dragons and shit. One more scene I wanted to quickly shout out is, well, I can't actually remember where it is, but Punisher's like escaping from someone and they're like shooting at him, and he does like this super sick roll where he just jumps on the ground, rolls, picks up a body, and just uses it as like a meat shield.
It's in the that Bomb episode.
Yeah,
so
episode
the cops are shooting at him,
like
and he just picks up this bad guy's body. And
that was fucking sweet. I was popping off when that happened.
Popping off.
Just big pop off.
Dylan, where can they find us popping off all over the interwebs?
All over the interwebs? Well, they can start with Facebook. That's a good place to go. You're going to get a lot of updates and, cool photos.
A lot of big podcasts have dropped. Lots of more dropping.
Oh, we almost always have stuff dropping. You can find us. Honestly, all you got to do is go to Google and put a GeekVerse podcast. You'll find either our website or Facebook or Twitter or SoundCloud or whatever.
Google's a great place.
Google is almost too strong.
Yeah. But yeah, like Dylan said, just go to Google or go to GeekVerse Podcast.
Go to our website.
You can find a lot of stuff. We dropped our Justice League review a couple nights ago, so if you have watched that...
Superman!
If you have watched that movie, check that out, because that is a... I don't want to say I think it
made for a good podcast. DC is always a great talking point, and I think we all had a lot of fun.
I was going to say it was a debate podcast, but it wasn't really, because we had similar views on it, but I think the funny thing is I think there's a lot of stuff that we liked about it differently than one another. You know, that thing, it's like we all had similar, like, in the score range, but it's like, oh, I kind of like that, or like, except Ben Affleck's Batman. That was kind of a unanimous dud.
I haven't really looked at other reviews for Justice League, but, check out ours.
Yeah. Hey. Well, it's funny, a lot of them said, like, it was really fun, and I didn't get that vibe. I got the vibe that it was sometimes fun. But maybe you should go on a review and get the whole story there.
We got the whole scoop.
Yeah, we got this. Hunka is going to be dropping next week. They're back. They've also seen Justice League. I think they love it.
Those guys are fucking wild.
From the text we get, so you're gonna want to check that out. There you go. We weren't the biggest fans of Justice League. We got something on our channel that people were the exact opposite that loved it. They're gonna be talking about how much better it was than Thor Ragnarok. So it should be a spicy podcast.
Spicy.
I think we'll be doing a GeekVerse news, and then next week. So technically, like I say next week, but the week after is when our Marvel Retro officially starts. Iron Man.
I don't know when it starts. What? With that description that you just gave me, like I don't know what that means.
So I guess because we're recording this Saturday night.
If we know a date, that works well, because then the people who are watching this years in the future, they'll know. I mean, they can assume, I guess, but
like probably very likely November. Okay, I'll give you this. Somewhere between November 26th to 29th. I got to correlate.
That's not bad. That's only 3 days.
Yeah. I got to correlate because we got a lot of other spin-off shows, so I got to make sure I'm not trolling everybody. But it's coming out very soon. If you're a fan of Punisher and Marvel, you're going to like this. It's lots of fun. Thank you very much for tuning in. YouTube, you can go there. All the links are below. Thank you very much. iTunes, SoundCloud.
iTunes, SoundCloud.
All that. And You know what? You say something.
I'm gonna end with Punisher grunt.
Oh, those audio listeners. Boom.
I love the Punisher grunt, dude.